That's Pope Leo the 14th. That's Pope Leo the 14th. I was kind of surprised. I'm not going to lie to you. I was kind of surprised yesterday. I woke up, black smoke, not surprised. I think, I forget what I did most of yesterday, but it was like, was it yesterday or the day before? I can't even, anyway, I think it was yesterday. Anyhow, yeah, it was yesterday. And then all of a sudden, like early in the afternoon, it was, oh, white smoke, got a pope. And then you're waiting for a little while to figure out, okay, who's this pope? Well, it turns out it's an American. You're like, what? An American? They made an American pope? Like it's almost been like an unwritten rule. Thou shalt never raise up an American as pope. But Pope Leo the 14th, and then, of course, you want to know, right? What's this guy like? And it doesn't matter if they're an American or Jamaican or Russian or whoever. You want to know what the guy's going to be like. And it said he was raised up as a cardinal by Pope Francis. And he had a deep respect for Pope Francis, a deep love for Pope Francis. That Pope Francis gave him particular responsibilities and particular duties within the Vatican. And then you find out he was an archbishop in Peru. And you're like, wow, okay. And then you find out, well, he was a citizen. He was a landed citizen in Peru, which is, that's pretty incredible. He took on a Peruvian citizenship. And then you find out he got to Peru because he was a missionary. And it's part of his thing was to live with and work with and share the gospel with the poor. And you come, okay, well, why did he take Leo as a name? You're like, because Leo was all about justice, including his predecessor, the predeceased, I don't know. The last Leo, Leo the 13th, was all about social justice, all about the social gospel, and bringing the church back around to its roots of taking care of neighbors and taking care of the poor and ensuring justice for all, being a voice for the oppressed, standing beside the marginalized. And this guy went, that's the one I'm going to take too. And that's, oh my word. And then you read the different bios about him, and he's a moderate. He's a moderate. He's more, he might be a centrist, but he's also a progressive. And so today I read where they're calling him a moderate reformer. And then of course, I see that Josh here says, yeah, I'm so happy Pope Leo doesn't like Trump or Vance. Well, I think we need to look at that because, the MAGA crowd, the Laura Loomers of the world and some of that crowd, they lost their ever beloved minds as they went through Twitter and they found all these, is this the first pope with a Twitter account? It might be, right? It might be the first pope with a Twitter account. Anyhow, or X or whatever it is it's called. But Pope Leo, when he was a cardinal and an archbishop, he had a bunch of reposts that he sent out, and most of those reposts were condemning, and I think it's important to remember, condemning the policy directed at migrants, condemning the ideology that created those policies. He never wrote anything. He never posted anything that says J.D. Vance is a bad guy. He never posted anything that said Donald Trump is a bad guy. He posted something that said we should be taking care of migrants. Right? He shared something that talked about taking care of the stranger. He shared an editorial that rightfully so, corrected J.D. Vance's assertions that in Christian thought, we love our family, and then we love our neighbor, and then we love our community, and then we love our nation, and then, if there's anything left, we love the world. And he's like, nope. She shared an editorial that corrected that erroneous assertion. But it was never, I don't like these people. It was this is bad theology. This is wrong theology. This is the way we should be going. This is how we should be moving. So again, MAGA's kind of upset by it. Upset by him, upset by his election. They were calling him all kinds of names, like, oh, he's a Marxist, and he's this, and he's that, and he blah, 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 blah. Well, listen, folks, he's not. This guy's doing his best to follow Jesus. This guy has spent his life doing his best trying to follow Jesus. That's what he is. He's not a Marxist. He's a Christian. He's not a Marxist. He's a follower of Jesus Christ. He's not a woke leftist. He's a follower of Jesus Christ. Jesus never tells us about market share or profit margin, ever. Jesus never tells us to take care of ourselves first and foremost. Jesus never tells us to take care of ourselves, and if you got a little bit left over, share it with the people next door. And if you got a little bit left over after that, maybe share it with some people down the street. No, for Jesus, it's always sacrifice. It's always about sacrifice. You sacrifice what you have, recognizing that what you have was given to you by God for the purpose of sharing. That's Jesus's whole thing. But lots of the right wing out of the U.S. are really quite miffed. They're miffed. They're miffed that this pope, that this cardinal has been elevated to pope because of his love for the poor. And for what it's worth, I think it's really fascinating that I was listening to MSNBC this morning, and they were talking about Pope Leo the 14th, and they were talking about some of the things that he's done, and they talked about his politics, and they were talking about how political he gets, or how political in the past he has gotten, and they're wondering if that's going to be a stumbling block going forward in these relationships that he has to create with other world leaders. And my thought was, he never got political. And bear with me on this. What he did in those retweets, in those posts, is he shared the teachings of Jesus. It's just that those teachings of Jesus run counter to common, popular, and it's not just an American thing. Many in the world feel this way. Popular sort of protectionism. We've got to protect ourselves from the other, as opposed to we need to reach out to the other. That popularist idea that I got to take care of myself first before I help take care of neighbors runs counter to Jesus's understanding of you need to take care of the other as you take care of yourself. Love one another as you want to be loved. Love your neighbor as you love yourself, right? The idea that I am and to have my safety and my comfort looked after first and foremost, that populist idea runs counter to the teachings of Jesus that says, if you really love me and if you're really following me, then you will do what I command you. And what I command you to do is love one another as I have loved you, with as a whole other level of the golden rule, of the rule that says love your neighbor as yourself. Love one another as I have loved you. Well, we know Jesus loved us so much that he was willing to die for us. So these things that the MAGA crowd seem to be upset about when it comes to Leo is, he's so political. No, he's not political. He's a Christian. Oh, he's a leftist. No, he's not. He's not a leftist. He's a Christian. Oh, he's woke. He's a Christian. That's what he is. And I don't mean that in the way that I don't mean that to say all leftist thought is Christian thought. That's not what I'm saying. And I'm not saying all Christian thought is leftist thought. I'm not saying that either. Because if you look at some of the things that Leo has said that has gotten in trouble with the right, he's also said things that back in 2012 I read today, where he talked about returning to the establishment of the traditional marriage between man and woman. That there was, basically that there was no room for same gender marriage, which speaks to his traditional understandings. Now, that's not something that the quote unquote left is going to gravitate to or get behind. He is a person. I say he's a Christian, not because what he says is perfect, not because he knows everything, not because everything he says is the absolute truth. I say he's a Christian because he's doing his best. I think over the course of his life, if you read what has been printed about him, he looks like a person that has done his best to follow the teachings of Jesus. And sometimes that's going to put him at odds with the left and the woke and the liberals and what else do they, right? It's going to put him at odds with the Marxists. And sometimes the things that he believes are going to put him at odds with the right, with the nationalists, with MAGA, with those ultra conservatives who want to keep everything for themselves, and only when they are fat and full will they choose to decide to share some of what they have left over with those who are less fortunate. This guy is going to tick off everybody at some point, just like his predecessor did. He's going to tick everybody off at some point. And that's okay. I do believe he is worthy of our prayers, because I think he's trying to do his best. And I think that as he grows into this position, I think he'll be someone, I hope and pray, but I have confidence that he will become someone akin to Francis, that you'll see him be a pastoral force, that you'll see him be a force of a voice of reason and concern and compassion. I think you will see him. I think, well, you know what? It comes down to something I believe he said, actually, which was sometimes we spend way too much time talking about doctrine and not enough time teaching about what it means to know Jesus Christ. To know Jesus Christ is to be sent out into the world to take care of those people on the margins, to take care of those people that are out on the edges of our society. To know Jesus Christ is to take care of the poor, the sick, the downtrodden, the prisoners. To know Jesus Christ is to spend our lives loving those that Jesus loved. To know Jesus Christ is to search for Jesus. To know Jesus Christ is to live a life of love towards others that increasingly makes us better and better and better people. If you don't mind, we're going to say that prayer. We're going to say that prayer for the Pope again. May the work of Pope Leo XIV truly be blessed by God, so that through him all God's children may flourish and experience the joy of the good news of Jesus Christ and the new life that he makes possible. God bless Pope Leo XIV. Amen.